For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be going back and visiting some of my very favorite episodes. So this week, we're going to be doing the one from DWIGHT and me talking about the importance of saying thank you. And I love this episode. I'm from the South, and I think some of these niceties have been left out in our time. So this is an important reminder about why just saying those simple words, thank you, are so very, very important. I hope you enjoy it.
This is Real Life with Deb Waterbury, a real show for real people with real issues. And now, here's your host, Dr. Deb Waterbury.
Hello there. So we are still right in the middle of our Thanksgiving series. Thanksgiving is in a couple of weeks, and I have DWIGHT with me today.
Hi, Deb Waterbury.
Hello, DWIGHT. So we're, we've talked about a lot of things in terms of Thanksgiving, and we're going to continue talking about Thanksgiving for a couple of, not really Thanksgiving, but thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thank
giving
you.
thanks. Yeah.
Thankful the Lord.
So, as I'm thinking about when we're going through trying to figure out what we're going to do, the way we do these shows is we decide a series title. We know what we want to talk about, and then we kind of go through and decide what each week will be about.
Narrow it down.
Yes, and so it became obvious to me, the more I live in this world and the more we deal with other people, and myself sometimes too, is that there are the simple niceties that seem to have gone by the wayside.
Bye-bye.
And, sometimes I used to think it was because I'm from the South, and now I don't live in the South. And in the South, you do yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, yes, or whatever,
sir,
because you're going to get your bottom spanked if you don't. Because
it's kind of like the military.
Exactly, yeah. We're all about the manners.
Yes.
But it's because you don't want to have your bottom spanked. It's not necessarily because
you mean it.
Feel it. Yes. You just don't want to feel Mama's hand.
Right.
You not necessarily feel the thanking. So, and as I've gotten further from that and realizing that, I can go to the store right now and very few people will say thank you even to the cash register person, the registrar person.
Well, actually, that might be part of the problem, that half the time we're just dealing with the cash register.
Yeah, it's true.
There's not even people there
anymore. That's true. There's not even people there anymore. But I think that I wanted to spend some time, I think, being thankful to God. And we've talked about being thankful to God and what that thankfulness looks like. We can't do that unless we actually understand saying thank you to another person.
Just the basics, the practical.
Yes. And so I wanted to just spend one session talking about the importance of saying thank you. If I could just instill this in our youth today, as they're getting younger, it's small up to young, say thank you. When somebody does something for you, say thank you, because that feels like something you shouldn't have to tell people.
Right.
But we're losing that. And so I wanted to not talk about just saying, you need to say thank you and, put that in your head. But why is that important?
Right.
Why is that necessary? And I found this quote, and it's actually a non-Christian guy. It's from a magazine called Psych Central. This is the blog that he wrote. His name's Jeremy Dean, and this is what he said. According to some psychologists, the words thank you are no longer just good manners. They are also beneficial to self.
So if I say thank you, it is actually
benefiting you. So I want to talk about why that's the case, and then what it is that's so important. Why is saying thank you more than just having good manners? Although, listen to me tell you, that's enough reason to say thank you.
That should be enough.
Exactly.
You sound like your mother. I want you to know that.
Know. But having good manners is reason enough to say thank you. But there are a lot of other reasons that saying thank you is actually a good practice.
Yes.
It's a heart reset, don't you think?
It's quick.
Yeah.
It's like, I just walked out of the store and I didn't say thank you.
Yes.
What's kind of the check yourself before you wreck yourself?
Yes.
Why didn't I say thank you? Something that simple. I have to go back in and say thank you. Oh, wait, I'm not even humble enough to do that. It went from not saying thank you to, oh my gosh, I need an appointment.
But when you said that, what it made me think of is that when you walk out of somewhere and you realize that you didn't say thank you, a lot of times not saying thank you is because you've already either moved on to your next thing.
Oh, yeah.
You're already in your next place. As women, we do this a lot. We're at the next thing. We're at our next thing, and we've left that person who has just served you. And so what's happened is you've put self at center again, which we tend to do all the time without even thinking about it, because it's our nature. Our man flesh self will always put self center.
Me first.
Yes, and in your often just not even taking the time to look at someone who just did something for you and saying thank you. I mean, just to the point of, I was in the gym the other day, walking in the gym, and there's this man came in behind me, and I held the door for him, and he literally just walked right past me. It was so hard for me not to say, hey,
you're welcome.
Exactly. You should have been holding the door for me, but I was holding the door for you. You could have said thank you. He didn't even make eye contact with me. It was, and what it did, I don't know what it did to him, but it made me feel devalued.
Oh.
And I think that, I found this, I was online talking, and actually I Googled online the importance of saying thank you.
Yes.
And there's all
studies.
kinds of
I am
stuff out there.
sure there are studies.
Oh my gosh, so much stuff out there because people have done a lot of research into this, why this is so important. So I found this one that actually gave some things that are important, make saying thank you important. And I thought it'd be interesting for us to go through these and then talk about them. So the first one they said is that it's important to say thank you because we recognize that someone had a choice. They didn't have to do something in a certain way.
It's neat that it's so far, some of the things I've noticed you said are things that people do for us.
Yes.
A lot of times this day and age in this world, people only say thank you when they get something
in their hands, yes.
Versus, wow, thank you, that was really nice. You didn't have to hold the door for me.
Right.
Please forgive me, I should have been holding the door for you, ma'am.
Sorry, I wasn't acting like a man right then. Sorry, whole other show.
So they had a choice.
Yes.
He said thank you. Mm-hmm. He could have gone on because he was embarrassed.
Right.
But he had a choice.
Yes.
Neat.
And I had a choice about whether or not I held that door open for him. And that's the thing, when somebody does something for you, as small as holding the door open or, picking up something that you dropped.
Right.
Whatever. They didn't have to do it. I didn't have to hold the door for him. I could have just walked in because, I held the door because I had a choice. Am I going to hold the door for him or am I not? Mm-hmm. Well, if he had been holding the door for me, he would have had a choice. And my saying thank you acknowledges that you chose to serve me.
Wow.
If you just think about what you're saying, just by saying the words thank you. The next one says it's important to say thank you because saying thank you acknowledges our dependence on others because no man is an island.
Wow.
And let me just say this too. I got these things off of a non-Christian site.
Imagine that.
This is not a Christian website where I got this from. This is just practical stuff. However, you'll notice, and I notice this all the time, anytime you're moving in practicalities that seem good or moral, they're biblical.
Yes. Spiritual principles is what I hate to say this, as I disguise them when I am not allowed to speak specifically on the thing that I love the most.
Word, yes. Mm-hmm.
They're spiritual principles. And then that makes me think of the one another's. Love one another. Be kind to one another. Be at peace with one another. All of the one another's, guess where they're at?
Yeah.
The Bible.
Exactly. But the world, when it's telling you how it's appropriate to behave, will move into spiritual principles.
Absolutely.
And this one. No man is an island.
Can't do it on your own.
You cannot do that. You're not meant to. God created Adam. It's the only time he looked down and said, this isn't good. He needs a companion. We were not created to be alone.
Right.
And because he didn't create us that way, acknowledging that someone just partnered with you, even if it's something small in this thing we're doing life, deserves a thank you. And it means you've acknowledged that this person did something for you. It has nothing to do with, what I hear so many women say, I don't need him to hold the door for me because I can do it myself. Well, that's not the point. Of course you can hold the door for yourself. Nobody said you can't do it because somebody else does it for you. It's that you're acknowledging that this person has just partnered with you in this thing we called life. And you just say, thank you for partnering with me.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be, thank you for doing it so well.
No.
Just thank you for doing it.
Just thank you for doing it. And
I acknowledge that you tried.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you for trying.
Exactly. All right, another one. It's important to say thank you because we should appreciate the act of a good deed and the time it took to perform that deed. And that's kind of like the other one. It really is, it's a matter of taking yourself out of center long enough to just realize, I appreciate that you chose to do this good thing.
Back to your grocery store example, time for most people in the world today, period, is the most valued thing.
Yes, it is.
So the fact that when we were talking about, we forgot to say thank you in the grocery store because we've already moved on, we've already gone, put the groceries home, and we've moved on to making dinner and putting the kids to bed before we even left the grocery store.
Right.
To just take the time to stop, look at them, go to the one before it, acknowledge, say thank you.
Yes, it is, because time, it takes you a couple of seconds, but when somebody says they receive your thank you, then they recognize you just took a bit of the time that you're never going to get back, and gave it to them because you're honoring what they did. Okay, it's important to say thank you because we acknowledge our relationship with the person we say thank you to. It's a simple sign of respect. And that's, with parents, with your husband, because, let me just say this to you, wives or husbands, if you're watching. We often forget to do these simple niceties to our spouses. Yes, because we can take them for granted.
She's poking me with a hot poker over here.
I'm going to go ahead and brag on my husband here because I am terrible at this. I'm terrible.
And he's the best.
He is so good. Every night, thank you, honey, for dinner. Thank you for cooking for me. Thank you for doing the laundry. I never do anything that Jeff doesn't thank me for it. Because he acknowledges that I didn't have to do it. He could do it, and he's fully capable of doing it. Well, he's not fully capable of making dinner. He thinks he is.
So in other words, it's thank the Lord that I didn't have to do it.
I'm thanking me that I did it. But just for your spouses, we'll do this to everybody else, and we forget to do this for. Thank your children. Thank you for behaving today. Thank you for being quiet while I was doing this. Thank you for cleaning your room. Just thanking those people that you're showing respect to the relationship that you have with them.
I love that it says relationship because it can be a relationship with the girl that you see at the grocery store.
Yes.
The girl that you see that gives you your coffee.
Right.
The guy that drives the bus or the person that picks up your children on the bus and you're standing there. Thank you.
Yes.
This is my precious little family. Thank you for taking care of them.
That's exactly right.
Just the term thank you can start, establish, or keep a relationship.
Which is such a good point, Dee, because it goes into where I wanted to get here, and that is, as a believer, simply taking time and saying thank you
the little niceties
is a demonstration of Christ. Because I'm telling you, in a world where these kinds of things have become almost anomalies, it stands out. And people will look and wonder, what makes her so different? And it's not that she's different. There's a peace and a joy and a contentment in a believer that can then move itself out to take the time to say thank you, to be appreciative and be kind because you're showing the love of Christ. People notice that.
That's what I had about saying thank you is literally just setting the example.
Yes.
And because we think that, they didn't even notice, dear Lord, you don't know that after you left, she turned around and said thank you to 5 other people.
Absolutely.
So that is just like spreading the love of God.
It is. It's what makes us different. We are to be holy, and that is set apart. And a lot of times our being set apart is simply in the fact that we acknowledge the existence of other people and that they are doing things. You're just acknowledging them in love. It sets a perfect example. And you're right. It is contagious.
Yeah.
Kindnesses are contagious. And let me just go ahead and just rub some more nerves. When you're driving and somebody allows you to get in front of them, just wave. Thank you.
The courtesy wave.
Thank you so much.
Well, you should probably, the blinker, start off there. We can go all the way back to the beginning.
Something. But acknowledge the kindnesses, because do you know what that does in the road? Because the person who you didn't acknowledge is now irritated with you because they've let you in, and now they're going to be irritated with everybody else, and you don't know what's going to happen on the road then.
They're behind you.
Yes. One simple little thank you so much will make them understand and feel the gratitude, and therefore then they're not angry. You could be preventing all kinds of stuff simply by going thank you because somebody let you in.
The hand.
Yes.
The yada yada.
Yeah, exactly. Tell that right quick.
In the Bible, in the Old Testament, yad is the word for hand, but yada, the base of hand, is praise and thanksgiving. So when you wave your hand, thank you, it's like praising. So they don't even know it. Yada.
Yeah, praise the Lord. And you are praising the Lord in your act of kindness because you're demonstrating the love of Christ. And this is just a simple little thing. Saying thank you is not that big of a deal. It doesn't require that you say that you're less than somebody else or that they're more than you. What it is an act of humility, which is an act of being Christ-like. And this is such a simple, easy way that the world agrees with for a change. I mean,
we can all be in agreement.
Exactly.
The first thing you learn in a new language is how to say please and thank you.
That's exactly right. The world seldom agrees with what we say as Christians, but when it comes to these spiritual principles, that they won't acknowledge our spiritual principles, we are in agreement. And thank you is a great way to start. If you train your children to say please and thank you, to say thank you when someone does something for them or acknowledges them, or just that will go so long and so far. And it is a contagious thing that will make kindness to breed kindness to bring kindness. And that is exactly what Jesus says we're supposed to do. As believers, we should be leading the parade here on this. We should be setting the example, not the ones who aren't doing it. Yes. So let me just challenge you right now. As we are in this season of Thanksgiving, say thank you. And say it to your husband or your wife. Say it to your children. Say it to your parents. And then say it to the person at Walmart or the person, wave at the person in traffic or wherever you happen to be. When someone does something, as simple as even, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to say thank you to the waitress. She's just doing her job. That's, whatever. It's not about whether or not they're doing their job. It's about you acknowledging this person's presence and that they just did something for you, whether they're being paid or not. Saying thank you just as an acknowledgement of their humanity.
Yes.
It's just a kind thing to do, and it takes you nothing. It's 2 little words.
Thank you.
So my challenge to you is in this season, just use these 2 words to be Christ with skin on. It is an opportunity, as in everything. We've talked about this over and over. We'll talk about it again next month in our Christmas series, that this is all about an example to kingdom build. And you may not think saying something like thank you is kingdom building, but it is. It's simply showing kindness where you're making a choice. You're choosing to be kind when you didn't have to be. Yeah. That's Jesus with skin on. It is an opportunity for kingdom building. See everything in that way. Saying thank you is just another way to do that. So this is just a show that we want to dedicate to the challenge of and the importance of just something as simple as saying thanks.
Thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you for being with us for this episode. And I do, I pray that everything you do, you'll be able to see an immediate gratification, but often remember you might not. And you may not get the nice response in return, if you say thank you or please or whatever. It doesn't mean people are going to, but that's not why we do it, is it? So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a Christ follower. And thank you for everything that I know you're about to do in the name of Jesus. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Real Life with Deb Waterbury. I hope it's been a blessing to you as much as it was to me. If you want any of my books or information on articles or any of my speaking engagements, you can go to my website at debwaterbury.com. God bless you.